Yo, yo, yo! Alright, another day of Bravery Network online. Let's show you the new team I've been running with the latest patch, which brought in Miss Pema, the powerhouse that is Pema. This team's called Pop-Ups. Alright, as you might imagine, this team is all about pop-ups. So, the team, it's pretty much all of the admins and then Sayla to kind of fill out the rest of the fighters. So we'll start with the top. Cherry Captain, as you probably know, your pop-ups deal double damage. Your team cannot spin battery to flourish. So the name of the game with this team is to set up at least 2 layers of pop-ups, if not 3, which punishes switching very hard and makes it difficult for the opponent. It's kind of like defensive pressure, I guess, is what I've been calling it. So the way I build my Cherry on this team is very bulky. And by very bulky, I mean somewhat bulky. Cherry's not bulky at all, but enough speed to, or enough initiative to outspeed max speed Wendell, which is sometimes relevant, and then the rest into defenses. For the item, for a while I was running Gloam Locket, but I realized that with the added bulk, it wasn't really doing anything. So Candy Pearls allows Cherry to come in on larger hits, allows Cherry to take some chip and then heal back up, which is sometimes very unexpected and turns a 2-hit KO into a 3-hit KO. Hottie has come into play multiple times against something like Sayla, something like Pema's Flicker Glove. What Hottie does is any move used by your foe that is above 0 priority becomes 0 priority. So it basically makes Cherry immune to things like Quick Foil, things like Flicker Glove, and lets her bounce back with Firewall and do damage before taking damage. So the set for Cherry, or I should say the moves, Firewall for the digital coverage, just great against something like Kaiban. Snub, as you might expect, is great on this team because it forces switches and forces them to take the extra pop-up damage. Sometimes it's hard to use that move though because it does have that negative priority, which is where Make Decoy comes into play. Make Decoy, you can sometimes bait things like Lunch Invite on Molly and use a decoy and then set up and you're behind that decoy and you can then snub and kind of trigger some pop-ups damage for free. Alright, next up is admin number 2, Jane. Jane is pretty much my only physical attack switch in, and so I've built her to take physical attacks fairly well, put focus into it. Enough initiative to speed creep other Janes, and then some more into digital defense. Acidic armor, I think, is the best trait for Jane. The other one's fun, but acidic armor, especially on this team, lets you burn things like extra uses off Tidy, extra uses off Disruption Wave, which are the only way to clear pop-ups. Thorn Pendant to punish physical attackers. Hand Cannon, Bypass Claws, just damage and then pop-ups. Next up is Pema. 41 initiative to outspeed other Pema without investment. And then just kind of default Pema, really. Resolute and Heavy Locket means you take half damage. Resolute, if you feel a feeling, you take 50% less damage from everything. Hunger doesn't get worse. So Pema is kind of my dedicated lead on this team. She just gets as many pop-ups up as possible, and if you have 3 sets up, then usually I use Round In to kind of get that free 60 damage and heal up Pema a little bit. It does have negative synergy with Heavy Locket and Resolute, but if I get those pop-ups up, it's really, Pema in my head has done her job. Haymaker, you could switch this with something like Firewall to punish K-Ban, but I do prefer Haymaker because most of the pop-ups clears in the format right now have lower physical defense, and so being able to Haymaker them on the switch in or even after they switch in and just do a ton of damage is pretty powerful. Next up is Sayla. Sayla provides some much needed priority and physical attack with Flicker Glove. It's great against things like Windle. It's great against things like opposing things with priority, so Clint, other Sayla. Claymore has a good synergy with Round End. Claymore drops your attack. After that, you can use Round End, get rid of feelings, get rid of your stat drops, and also force your opponent to switch out, which means they take pop-ups damage. I have enough initiative to kind of speed creep other Sayla, the rest into attack and defense, one into digital defense just to mess with people's calculations. It's never really come up as an issue, but just kind of did it to be cheeky. And last but not least is Tazu. Tazu's actually kind of the backbone of the team. I built Tazu to be very emotionally defensive, mostly because I don't have a ton of emotional defense on the team that I want to be switching in and taking damage. So doing that kind of makes Tazu a great switch into things like Zale, to things like Wendell. The backlash chip with the lucky pendant means you're doing residual damage and also healing up at the same time. Pop-ups again, because that's the point of the team. Firewall is standard on Tazu. I do like Bribe. It lets me chunk or even knock out Janes, opposing Janes, which is a lot more popular in the format right now, that don't respect the potential bribe. I can also do a more chip to something like Zale, something like really anything that is okay with Firewall, doesn't like the chip from Bribe. Tazu is there just to kind of provide that defensive pressure again. Switch in on anything that attacks digitally or emotionally, pressure them out with backlash, and also just general attacks, and they are forced to switch out and take pop-ups. So that's the team. Let's hop into some battles, and I'll show you how it works. Alright, we got a match. Looks like we're against Minimal. Minimal's got a Farron team, okay. Farron team's scary because it has 4 batteries. Probably gonna be legendary, maybe Farron. Let's see, their pop-ups clear is Lease with Tidy or Disruption Wave. I think leading Pema here is fine. I think Grace is probably their best lead, just to chunk with Peck, or maybe get up their own. Okay, maybe get up their own pop-ups with Tazu. Heavy Locket goes off, and let's start the pop-ups. Really, my game plan here is just going to get up at least 2 layers of pop-ups and kind of force Lease out, and then get Lease down and win from there. I'm really scared about Farron, especially once they have a full battery. They're able to bring in my Cherry and just kill her for free. Okay, they go for a Firewall, get a pop-ups up. Could chunk with Haymaker here. I kind of like that play actually. Mostly because I did expect them to switch into Lease to stop my pop-ups with Infuriating. And so this plus the chip plus that means they either have to switch out or just go for the straight up Tidy right here, or Diswave. So they might switch out, in which case pop-ups is probably my best play. Or they could stay in and use their clear move, hoping I don't haymaker again. I'm definitely faster. I don't, unless for some reason they're running max speed lease. Though if I were them, I would probably switch out. I don't know. Haymaker is pretty safe here though. Yep. Okay, their only pop-ups clear is gone, so I am free to just kind of wreak havoc. Pema's a sack right now. Got -4 defenses, half health. But I would say I definitely have tempo right now. Even one layer of pop-ups, 20 damage every time they switch in it's pretty powerful. So minimal's definitely on the back foot here. Probably wondering what to bring in to force out Pema, or at least knock her out. Force her to tag out. Which at this point probably dies to anything they have. But that's okay, I think it was worth it to take out Lise there. They go for Tazu. Actually, Firewall does not KO here, which means I'm free to set up my own pop-ups. Alright, 2 layers. And I'll just go for the third one just in case they switch out for some reason. I don't see why they would, but let's see. There, Tazu is 74 speed, my save is 72, so that's not a safe switch in here. I'm kind of thinking Cherry actually. Or my own Tazu. Now, Cherry into Decoy kind of baits the battery. I can also threaten Snub. Though if I snub, I bring in their own Farron, or Ferran. I'm gonna bring in Cherry and go for a decoy, kind of bait out maybe a lunch invite. They could flourish pop-ups here, which then I'll get a free decoy. They could just straight up attack, which means I burn one of their uses. We get a shiny decoy. Firm handshake, that's awesome. So I have a decoy, I can now snub very freely. Wonder why they would handshake there. I guess just to kind of lock in my Cherry and be able to sack Tazu and be able to kill Cherry. I guess I kind of see what Minimal was going for there. But now I'm free to get a snub. I put Sad on Tazu, which means the firewall boosts are not effective until Sad runs out. Farron's now in. Ferran's now in. So, let's see. They have a battery here. So if they were to use Firm Handshake, and flourish it, basically because the way it works is it uses Handshake once, forces in my captain, uses it again. I'm not sure how that interacts if my captain's already in, so I'm tempted to just decoy here. Just in case they go for that. Most likely they'll just attack me, kind of bait out the second decoy, go for Bribe, maybe expecting my Jane to switch in. Bribe doesn't kill me though. So here's where it's kind of scary. If they go for the handshake, flourish it, and I switch out, it basically means a dead cherry. If they go for a topple hammer here, my cherry's gone, and tempo's back on their side. I am really scared of... I didn't see Toppler go off, so I'm assuming the legendary. So I think actually a snub might be good here, or a fireball. I'm flirting with danger here, but I'm gonna go for a snub. Yeah, they get the handshake off. They make me dizzy, but I force them out. Now next time they come in, they take 40. If I'm able to get another pop-ups up, it means it means that their captain is dead when he comes in. I'm dizzy, so I can't use my battery here. If I switch out, I take 50. They could go for something like Escape Whip or Riding Crop. I don't think Escape Whip kills me. Let me check that actually. Cherry, Grace, Riding Crop. Okay, even uninvested Riding Crop kills Cherry pretty handily, so that's assuming they don't have an item. If they do have an item, it still does 120, so I am not safe here. I'm going to switch out. I'm going to assume that they go for a physical attack. Jane is actually kind of a throwaway here, because I need Jane for Pema, so I'm going to switch in Tazu. I'm okay taking the trapped. Still dizzy, but they go for a lullaby. That's fine. All I'm going to do is get up my third layer of pop-ups so that Ferran cannot come in. If they switch out Grace, then Grace will not be able to come back in. I think if I get this third layer of pop-ups up, it's going to be very difficult for Menable to come back. Scooch this over a little bit. There we go. You guys know who I am. Alright. So Tazu comes in, takes 40. I get a pop-ups, which means both Ferran and Grace are dead when they come back in. Which means I'm kind of safe to just sack Tazu here. Don't really need Tazu anymore. Just getting the chip from Backlash, the chip from Bribe. Pretty much gonna seal the deal. I have Jane for Pema. They could flourish pop-ups or do something like that. Is an interesting move. Honestly, I wasn't expecting that. That was good. Good play. But I don't think actually that Tazu can do anything to me. And I'm only dizzy one more turn. So yeah, you have no more firewalls. Maybe you have something like Lunch Invite or Bribe here, but I have some defense and emotional, so I don't see why I wouldn't just do something like now if they switch to Pema, they're just gonna sack here, so I think Snub is actually my best play because it forces in Ferran and takes out their captain. It'd be silly for them to switch out here because it would just be a sack, but I guess they value that chip damage from biting and also being able to bring in Pema for free. fine. I think biting actually triggered my necklace, which is kind of funny. I bring in Jane, and it's kind of game over from there. They can't do anything about that. I think it's a great game to kind of show off the power of the team, being able to take out their clear, and then just kind of, once that's done, it's just a matter of forcing tagouts and playing defensively while also kind of putting on defensive pressure, I guess you could say. Yeah, Jane just completely walls Pema. I think that's game minimal. Tazi forfeits to pop-ups. Fran comes in, also forfeits to pop-ups. Good game. Alright, let's hop into another one, and I'll be back once I find a match. Alright, looks like we found a match against Small Grump. Small Grump's Wendell team. Wendell, Sayla, Grace, Zale, and Pema. Their only clear is Zale. Most likely it is more of a peck focused Zale. So if I had to guess, they don't have a great clear. It's unlikely they actually have Disruption Wave on Zale, just based on their team. Popups is a little weak against Wendell, so I'm not entirely sure how well this match is going to go. I definitely need to save Sayla for his for Wendell being able to flicker club. They lead Grace, get the stunning drop. I am just going to, as always, use pop-ups. I get the peck. I get the pop-ups. I'm going to pop-ups again. They go for the unbutton. Smart, because it kind of lets Grace outspeed Cherry. And if they go for the second unbutton, I will lose my Pema. I don't think switching out here makes sense because I don't live hits from much else, so I'm just going to go for my last layer pop-ups just in case they do something like Lullaby. But they don't. Small Grump makes the correct play of unbuttoning there and making Grace a powerhouse. So Grace is now faster than Cherry. Again, I can't risk that being Riding Crop, that move right there, so I'm going to bring in Tazu. Go for Firewall. They might stay in Peck, most likely they will switch out, and they choose to do that. Into Pema with Heavy Locket. Okay, interesting. Okay, I get the Firewall boost. So they might do something like pop-ups here. I need to keep Tazu healthy. So I'm going to switch in Jane. Jane is weak to pretty much everything else on their team except Sayla, so being able to get chip on Pema is useful. What I don't like is I'm now kind of giving them the opportunity to switch in something that can hit me with an emotional attack. So I'm really tempted to put pop-ups down. But I think a better move is to bypass claws. Well, now I'm taking that back because if they switch out, unless they have a clear, Pema's gone. So most likely they'll just stay in and either kind of get some chip on Jane or get up their own pop-ups. So I'm gonna go for my own pop-ups. Yep, I think they choose to go for the chip. I get my pop-ups. It's fine. They only have one firewall left. That's okay. I'll just go for the hand cannon. Reveal their stat distribution here. So they have to haymaker or switch out. So really, I guess I could bring in Sayla, but that's not super safe. I'll take 34. So just bypass clause is a safe move. They'll take the Thorn Pendant. I will get my battery from the bypass clause here. Oh no, I won't because they went down to tired. So Pema tags out. Wendell his first boost. Honestly, Wendell's safe to come in here. If I were them, I'd probably bring in Zale. If Zale has Disruption Wave, it's a very safe Disruption Wave. So Jane. So I'm not sure actually. Do I save Jane for the potential Sayla and eat a peck here? Or I'm actually kind of worried about eating a Disruption Wave as well. If they have Disruption Wave, it gives me an opportunity to knock out their Zale. The other option I have is I could bring in Cherry and eat the peck or the Disruption Wave, but it kind of puts me on the back foot there. I have my own Cherry to deal with Sayla, so I think it's okay to risk Jane here in case they have the Disruption Wave. They end up not choosing to use that. If they have it, just go for the peck, which means I'm actually kind of safe to bring in somewhat safe to bring in Sayla here. The other option is just to bring in Cherry. Peck does 23 at 121. How much does... They're at 121. How much does Shriek do? My Cherry has 52. That does 60. Okay. So Cherry is a somewhat safe switch in here. Even if they flourish, they won't get the tag out on Cherry. So I believe I'm safe to tag in here. It does allow them to diswave, which maybe is a mistake. But it's very tempting. I'm just gonna make decoy here. Now that I think about it, maybe that wasn't the best play, because if they do have diswave, then it allows them to clear my pop-ups for free. But on this team, I really, it's Peck, it's Shriek, and then maybe Lullaby or some like Fireworks, Burn Bright. It's a very aggressive team. So yeah, they go for the Shriek. I block it, they take 20. It is not safe for them to Shriek again. I don't think they would switch out, so... If I snub it, it might get them. It might get them. I'm just gonna burn my decoy again, kind of bait out their shriek. Okay, they go for the peck. That's fine. They're not going to switch out here. Shriek is probably their best play. Just get the big damage on me. If they Shriek and get in, their Windle, is that okay for me? I don't know. They could peck again, honestly. I'm just gonna go for the snub. That's fine. I'll take the 60. So Windle just gets another boost. Windle is probably an okay switch in for them, honestly. Though I do get the healing from Candy Pearls, so that's good. Okay, snub doesn't do anything. I reveal snub. Maybe I should have used Firewall for the boost. What do they do here? They bring in Grace. Drops my speed. It's probably something I should have thought about. Peck, unbutton. Most likely they have Shriek here. Which I think kills me. Grace, Shriek. Their Grace has 100. That's a fast Grace. That does 50 to me. So they can't actually KO with Shriek. Which means I'm kind of safe to... actually safe to snub here. Well, hold on. I didn't think about the flourish. 50... if they flourish and critical hit, it's 75. Which is exactly a knockout. So I think I need... if they do that though, they burn their battery. So I think snub is actually fine here. They go for peck. I'll bring in their Windle. But their Grace is now dead. Even if they get rid of Cherry, Grace is dead. Obvious detached Windle. I have a lowered emotional defense. If they have something like Flaunt, then Windle. If they have something like Flaunt, which can critical hit, it would do 77. Except I have... okay, if they critical hit here, it's a definite knockout. It is very tempting to parry snub though. So tempting that I think I'm gonna go for it. if they do knock out my cherry, Sayla still takes the damage. I believe I'll be able to kill their Sayla before they can kill mine. And so parry snub, yeah, they fashion advice. They might parry here, but they don't. So I make Wendell sad, which is sad for Wendell. Sayla takes pop-ups. Even if they parry here, it's fine. Burns their battery, I don't have to worry about it anymore. I have Adi, so they can't flicker glove before I can firewall. Yep. Cool. Wendell heals. Didn't consider that. Forgot that was a effective Wendell. It's actually kind of scary now. But that's fine. Cherry has done the job. I'll just click whatever. Wendell couldn't click fashion advice. It's fine. Okay with losing Cherry at this point. Cherry has done her job on her chair. The Battle of Chair Masters. Alright. Tazu, I think, is going to be my switch because backlash doesn't matter against Wendell, so I shouldn't even brought that up, but I'm just free to bribe. There's no way Wendell can get me. Between tanking a hit, bribing, because Wendell's sad, it's actually really, really nice because that 336 emotional attack is not relevant. Yep, you still take pop-ups, sorry. I'll hit you while you're down without consent. Alright, Wendell. You've put this off long enough. Go ahead and parry. It's kind of interesting that you would parry here. I think actually... The parry is so obvious here, I'm going to switch in just to burn the meter. Take much from that. I can now flicker glove. Put them into gloomlet range. They can heal all they want because they're sad. And now flicker glove seals the deal. That's an interesting matchup. Good game, small grump. Yeah, interesting matchup just because Wendell doesn't care about pop-ups, nor does most of their team because they don't plan to switch much anyway. They just want to do as much as damage as possible, get chip on everything, and set up for Wendell. So that was a fun game.